I think we're live. So I am Eben Matthews, co-founder of Macroverse. And normally we have these live streams every week to talk about the Macronauts project. You can learn a lot more about that at Macronauts HQ on Twitter. Or you can also catch up on the previous sessions that we've had exploring and developing the world and the lore and the mythology of the Macronauts over the last several weeks. Those are all captured on our YouTube channel as well as in Discord. So if you want to catch up on where we're at with that now would be a good time. We're having a little hiatus, but it's all related, all ties in together. So tonight I'm going to do a live drawing stream instead. One of our community members, shout out to Matt Maz, great guy, great storyteller, kind of one of the greenlit writers in our community, has been having a hell of a 2023. So shout out to you, Matt. We're thinking about you and your family. And one of the things I said that I invited people to do in the community was to throw some characters from NFTs that they own into one of our channels, and that I would pick one of those and create a piece of art out of it, make it a one-on-one. So when this is done, I will mint it and deliver this to Matt. It's kind of fun. This is one I've been kind of wanting to do, so it's also given me an excuse to do it. So we put it to a vote between a bull from the Bulls and Ape projects, which we love, and also to this nerd from the Nuclear Nerds project, which we also love. And tonight the nerds won. So excited to draw this nerd. And I hope some of you will nerd out with me drawing this nerd. This is also a little bit of an experiment. This is my first time doing this kind of a live stream using, I've been finding my way back in Eclipse Studio recently, having spent a lot of time on Procreate. So there may be a few moments where I'm fumbling around with tools or interface, but it should be fun to go down this process a little bit. If anybody wants to hop in live and chat while we're doing this, well, the link to do that is in the Macroverse Discord and announcements. So that is macroverse.gg, discord.gg/macroverse. So feel free to join live if you just want to hang out while I'm working on this. I probably won't finish it all in this session. So there may be kind of a, percentage of it done and then a percentage of it that I wrap up later. But let's kind of dive right into it. The other thing that this is a little test run for is as I do get into drawing the art for the Macronauts project, this will be some of how we share that process as well. So it's a little test run on making sure that everything is working properly. I am going to switch over to Clip Studio. So I'll actually not be able to see the messages and stuff, but hello, Rommel. Hello, Lady Valor. Thanks for being here. So I will check back intermittently if there's anybody chatting or anybody that's trying to get in the stream, but grab our trusty digital drawing device and let's say hi, or should we say GM, as the case may be. So this is our lovely nerd that we're going to be working on this evening. I think right off the bat, I've decided I'm going to do it less of a full body shot and more something that might be a little more PFP friendly potentially, and also save myself a little bit of work, to be honest. So it's gonna be more head and shoulders. I just thrown the original character and I love the art from this stuff. So, it's gonna be a lot of fun. There was a thing that went around on Twitter for a while, not Twitter, on Instagram for a while, a few years ago, which got really popular. And I'm sure you can still find a bunch of them going on, called a Draw This in Your Style challenge. And people would essentially just put up mostly their own original characters, and other artists around Instagram would then do their interpretation of those characters. And it became really fun. I did a handful of them, actually posted a handful of them on my Twitter timeline recently. It was kind of neat to see what people's interpretations of other people's characters were. And so, this kind of reminds me of that kind of thing where it's, kind of a chance to do your own spin on somebody else's thing. So you'll see that, I am starting very, very loose. I'm going to try to capture a little bit of the proportions of these guys. So, they're long necks and kind of bigger heads than bodies. Might try to do something a little fun with the pose. I'm not sure if I'll get the gun in there or not. Just if I do, I'll probably do it later because I'll need some reference for that. So, this could be one option, is just kind of very much a, kind of looking a little maybe menacingly up at you a little bit. I kind of like to do that a lot, where you kind of got one eye cocked and, then you get this kind of mouth thing going with the teeth. That could be kind of fun. I also like to explore some, different ideas right off the bat. So you'll see this kind of very, very loose drawing to begin with, just to kind of see what the attitude is going to be. Another thing would be like, maybe it's a little more of an up angle, so you get a little more shoulder in there. And if that were the case, maybe you get a little more of this kind of thing. So, kind of forced perspective, that would be an option. You get like more hoodie in there. I mean, that's kind of fun. Different spin on the typical profile pic. I kind of like that. So I think actually I'm pretty happy with that, as opposed to doing the kind of classic portrait. I think doing something that's a little more dramatic from a angle perspective. And my pen just decided to pause for a second. Here we go. All right, so let's go with something like that. And then you'll see me kind of do I'm fading this layer down, just bringing a new one in to kind of iterate on that. So one thing that I always feel is like, if I can get the anatomy basically right, then the rest of it is gonna work pretty well. So I spend pretty good amount of time kind of getting the skeleton of this working properly. And I forgot, it might have been my mom early on. She was like, all these drawings start as naked people, and she's basically right. So you're kind of like just make sure before you put clothes on them, making sure that the anatomy and the stuff is right. So this is a character that has boobs, so we got to make sure that gets kind of at least understand where that is from a location standpoint. Here's kind of the center of the body, and then again trying to capture some of the proportions with this the long neck. You're going to get kind of another clavicle over here. We'll make sure that we get the hoodie in here, so just going to kind of rough that in for the sake of perspective. And then this kind of proportion of the head. It's funny, Rommel made a comment about the GSA, which, can generally be counted on to do. In this kind of rough form, this has got a bit of a alien kind of proportion to it. So let's see. I think we're going to tilt this head a little bit so that we are seeing, kind of the more of the face kind of looking at us. So we can have a little more fun with that. And, I think rather than having the eye line up here, I think I want to put it down here a little bit. This character has big ears, so I'll make sure that gets in there. It's kind of big forehead. And that's feeling pretty good as kind of a skeleton structure for this. Might make this arm even a little bit thinner. So I think somewhere in that pretty good layout for it. Thank you, Lady Valor. I just went and checked, and you said, I like that angle. Thank you. I like this angle too. So then the next thing I'll do is I'll kind of build on this and refine it a little bit more. So again, kind of taking the opacity down. And this is kind of an animation trick where like switching to a different color helps to also kind of bring out the refinement process here. So now I want to kind of focus a little more on the anatomy of this head. So if here's our eye line and kind of the center line of the face, I'm probably going to need to make this a little more evident here, so I can see some of the details of the character a little bit more. So we've got these kind of big glasses, and again, trying to mirror a little bit of the proportions, like a lot of space between the eyes. I've always liked this art, but I'm just now appreciating how alien the proportions of these characters actually are in the best possible way. So let's get some of that represented here. Kind of the shape of the head too. These big ears, which are kind of down at the center line. Get a little bit on this side. Let's say the nose is kind of up in this arena. These eyes, again, sort of far apart. So typically, like proportions of a normal human face, like these eyes would be, there's usually about an eye width between the different eyes, but these are pushed pretty far out to the edges. And we don't really know what her mouth is doing because we have this very cool mask to work with. And I might give it my own little spin as well as we go through here. So get this roughed in. And then we have this very cool, kind of teeth design on here. Lots of sharp teeth, yummy. All right, so getting kind of a sense of that. And then her hair is kind of cropped up here. So again, like right now, I'm mostly focused on proportion over detail. So then when I go to inking, one of the things you find, like as you get more confident in your ability to draw this kind of stuff, that a lot of the actual detail is generally, for me at least, done kind of in the inking stage. So as long as I know all the construction is here and it's generally working, then a lot of the refinement will happen at that later stage. So I'm just going to kind of quickly put in this idea of where the glasses fall. So I just have a sense of them here. And then again, sort of going, I think actually this neck is even thinner here. Very alien in the best way. So neck, get some of the musculature there. We're not seeing this because it's behind the shoulder, but it's good to kind of have a sense of it. There's that clavicle. There's the other clavicle. And then I'm going to make this shoulder. Actually, I'm going to reduce the size of that a little bit so that this character is really kind of wiry. So again, just kind of getting a sense of where the musculature would be, even though we're not going to see a lot of that. And then this kind of muscle in the back connects up here to this part of the muscle in the back of the neck, even though we're not going to see that either. So that gives me a pretty good amount of construction so that I kind of know what we're going to end up with here. Let's see. If Rommel doesn't bring up the GSA, he's been replaced by a pod person. Well, okay, noted. I think at this stage of the game, it's probably less replaced by a pod person and probably more replaced by AI, although I'm not sure those are mutually exclusive either. All right, so now I just want to do one more layer of this just to kind of get a little more of the detail of her outfit. Also feeling like maybe she's a little too big in the square, so now would be a good time to adjust that as well. Let's see, this is one of those things where I have to remember how to do this in Clip Studio. Maybe it's, select all. And we're going to want to not expand selected area. We want to scale and rotate. There we go. Yeah, it's been a while since I've done a bunch in this program. All right, so I'm just going to make her a little bit smaller so that if she were to be a PFP of some kind, no pressure, Matt, that there would be a little more room as she's framed up in the space. So that seems pretty good. And now we're going to do that kind of final draft of a little more of the detail. I'm going to actually go back to blue for this. I'm going to make my nerd here. Actually, you know what? Do close first. So at this angle, it's a little tricky with how we're going to do the sweatshirt, but essentially maybe something like this. We got to get the tassels in there. Something like this. Maybe this one is actually a little more in front so they're not overlapping. And since I don't have as much room, I'm going to make that one shorter and that one longer. And then this is going to lead to this hood, which we won't see as much of in this angle. And then this sweatshirt is actually like kind of a short sleeve here. So I just want to kind of get some of this roughed in as far as folds in the fabric and how this is going to work. And then this is pretty clingy here, but we'll get a little fold in the fabric there as well. The rest of the arm now is going to be coming in here. Oh, I'm still selected here. Let's deselect this. There we go. All right. And this is feeling like it's kind of starting to come together. Okay. And then, so that kind of gives us a structure for this outfit for clothes. I think actually that doesn't have like a nice cuff on it. Instead, oh, beach ball time. Hello, welcome to the beach. Let's see. So it's more of a kind of raggedy edge here, like it's been torn off. So we'll make sure we capture that. And then she's got something on her neck. I'll have to look a little closer to see what that is, but we'll get that kind of in there. Looks like it's something in the middle there. And then the glasses are the detail that I really want to kind of get more clarity on to make sure I get that as intended. So I'm actually going to zoom in on this a little bit. So again, I'll have to remember how to do what I just did. So let's, oh, there we go. I think holding down shift, yay. So let's see, whoops, not that. Let's see a little more of the detail here for head and shoulders. And I am so sorry, nuclear nerds. Oh, she's got a cool little thing on her shoulder. Yeah, I want to make sure I get, oh, is that that's a Band-Aid on her neck. Okay. I want to make sure I get these details right. So I'm going to make this even a little bigger so that I get just the part that I'm working on. And then from here, let's actually get rid of the rest of it. Sorry, nerds. Let's see, which one is delete? We're going to invert and delete. Oh, nope, not that. Invert and which one? Deselect, crop. Nope. Let's see. Just need to get rid of you, and I don't remember how to do it. Let's see. Copy and paste. Cut and paste. No. Shrinks. No. All right. Some of you are now watching this going like, this is the most exciting live stream I've ever watched. I know. I can't blame you for thinking that. Let's try inverting. There we go. Let's see. No, I think that's not what we want. Want to invert again. All right, can't just hit delete. Nope. Nope, this is going to copy and paste. So maybe we're going to cheat this a little bit and try again. So this area that I want, and then this one is copy and paste. So let's try copy and paste. Okay. There we go. That's not the way I was trying to do it. I'll figure that out later. All right, so let's get just a few more of these details in here. Thanks for hanging out on that detour. All right, mostly, again, I want to know how the glasses work. This is actually a Band-Aid. So let's make sure that is, oops, not this, back to drawing. Make sure that is represented here as a Band-Aid. I might have it kind of like folding up the edge a little bit. And then, okay, her glasses actually go essentially straight across. And then the lenses, she's got the nose guard, and then the lenses are in here. All right, so that should be enough for me to work with on that. And then I want to make sure that we get the Space Invader in here as well. So I'll come back to that. Eyes. Okay. That's enough for me to work with. All right. So glad I realized some of those details. So now I think we're basically ready to start putting down some more or less ink lines. Of course, digital, not traditional ink, but I think more or less ready for that stage. Save, always save your work. Always, always, always save your work. We'll definitely regret it if you don't. Hello, Carla. Nice to see you. So, you know what? The last thing I want to make sure I get right is the mask here. So while I'm looking at more detail, let's get that a little more. Oh, wait a second. Let me look closer at this. This is why you sometimes don't appreciate how good some of this art is. So I was seeing the little bridge on the nose from the glasses. I thought those were nostrils when I was looking at it small. But her nose actually looks like it is here under the mask. So that is quite a different scenario. So her nose is actually coming down here. And then the mask is up here over the tip of it. That makes a lot more sense, actually. And so here, let's get this mouth shape in here. Teeth, 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 teeth. And this kind of like Sarlacc pit of teeth, which I really quite like. It's going to be fun to draw in there. There is these kind of little straps here. And then above as well. And then this goes to what is then the strap around the edge. And then on this side, we're actually seeing like the buckle piece, and it's going under the ear. So good to see some of that detail there as well. Okay, cool. I like it. Eyes are going to come in just a little bit to get under this shape as well. Maybe I'll make her kind of squinting a little bit in this one, like she's checking you out. What are you doing? What do you think you're doing? And I didn't really put in eyebrows, so we'll do that. So in that case, give her that little eyebrow furl on that side and maybe a little more down on the other side. All right. Again, feeling pretty good with this now. All right. Hey there. So onward. Let's start putting a little bit of ink line down. This will be the fun part. So in this case, I'm going to bring the red down a little bit so I can see some of the detail that I put there for the blue. I'm going to switch to some India ink. And let's see, actually, I have all these amazing brushes. So let's see what I want to use for ink line. I will use something in here. Something I also do a lot is, kind of test out different brushes and things just to try different textures and things. So, Nuclear Nerd feels like maybe it's a little gritty smitty, perhaps. I'll go with black for the moment and kind of see how that feels. That feels a little too big, so adjust the size. And I'm just kind of seeing like the thick to thinness of it. So these are all pressure sensitive. So if you just barely touch the screen, you get a thin line. If you press harder, you get a thick line. Don't love that one. Don't love that one either. So let's see. Some of these Friendin inkers are really good. Let's try, no, not extreme tilt. Pentagon tip. I kind of just want a regular sort of brushy kind of a nib, but I wouldn't mind if it had a little texture to it as well. Beaky Larry might be too much. Yeah, definitely too much. Yeah, this again, the most exciting part of the stream. I know. This one, oh, that one's kind of fun. I kind of like the look of that. All right, so let's let this be a little grittier. I think that will be fun for this character. And, we are in this post-apocalyptic world all at the time anyway. All right, so here we go. I'm going to also work in some layers here so that I can change the color. So for example, how the glasses don't actually have a hard line around them. I'm going to want to do some version of that as well. So even though you'll see this get drawn in, there'll be multiple layers, which will, kind of let me separate things out later, change the color and adjust things. I'm going to put all of these pencil layers into a folder. Call that pencil, save, always save. ABS, always be saving. All right. So I also tend to work kind of top to bottom for the most part. So stuff that's, over the top of other things, although not always, but generally. So in this case, the glasses are so important. I'm actually just going to start with the glasses and just kind of get the beginning of some of this shape in here. I used to be incredibly obsessive with how trying to get my line work to just be absolutely perfect. And I can't say that that's completely gone, but I'm more comfortable with things to some degree how they come out now. Definitely a change over the course of my artistic or creative or drawing life as I hope, matured. The other nice thing about working digitally is the Command Z, which is undo, is always just a click away. So let's get this kind of glasses shape in there. So those are our rims. We know those are going to be essentially the same color, but now this is where I will go to another layer and do the bottom part of the glasses. Oops. Again, Command Z is our friend. And so getting in here for that. Don't like it. Getting in here for the other side. There we go. And then going to go back to the top layer, which is where that nose bridge is. And something like that. All right. Not going to worry much about the nose since that seems it's kind of part of the style, and I like that. So we'll kind of let the nose be suggested by the rest of what's around. So these are glasses, and you'll see me do this kind of thing a lot too, where I am a little, retentive, you might say, about organization. So I know there's a lot of people that just like, you'll have 100 layers and no idea what they are until you click through them. But I generally like to keep things pretty organized. I think part of that comes from doing a lot of animation and organizing this kind of stuff to then go into After Effects or something like that. So when you're bringing 100 layers from Photoshop into After Effects, it's very handy to know what they all are without having to go back and rediscover them. I feel like this line needs to be thickened up a little bit. One thing about thick to thin lines, not everybody has quite the same approach, but I like to kind of think about them in perspective a little bit. So if this is a little closer to us, like this would probably be slightly thicker than if it's a little further away. So there are the glasses. We'll move on now. And sometimes I'll just make the folder ahead of time too. So we'll make this one the mask. And make a new layer in here. And then get kind of the basic shape of this in here. And then I think I'll go ahead and do the teeth because that's such a prominent feature of this. Teeth. Okay. Kind of want them to some degree kind of line up, although like that juxtaposition. So let's say maybe there's a crooked tooth in there as well. But certainly these bottom teeth are kind of going into the others or underneath it. So it really does feel kind of Sarlacc pit-like to me, but I like that. So, maybe there's a little Boba Fett in there. All right, so I got some teeth. I'm going to put this seam in there. And then another one. Hopefully it's not too boring when I start focusing on the drawing and less on the talking. Let's see. There's that connection. I'll come back to any kind of like shading or anything like that. It's buckle. And then we're seeing just a little bit of this one at that angle. And behind the ear. looks like it's got like some little, I don't know what these are called, the like little holes with metal around them, but we'll indicate that. And then this has like the buckle part on it. Indicate that. A little hint of it on this side. Might just take care of that with some shading. So starting to get this face in place, feeling pretty good about it. You know what though, if you think about how this buckle actually works, we're not going to see this part. We're going to see it kind of disappear in here. And then the ear is there behind it. All right, masky. To an 8-bit Macroverse logo. I like that. Like that idea. All right, so now that is our mask, and let's move on to the rest of her face. Oh, that mask layer didn't actually go in the folder, did it? And we'll take this one out of there. Okay. Save. After our spinning beach ball, once again, we'll get to the next part. So this is, we'll just do the rest of the head in this folder. It might be 2 layers for the hair, but we'll do the rest of the head in here. All right. So now, time to do some eyes. And actually, because I have these separate, it'll help me get the angle and everything of this right to, oh, that's the mask, to turn the opacity on the glasses down a little bit so we can see where they are, but they're not getting in the way of seeing kind of the rest of how this is constructed and put together. So her eyes, and I do like how big and black and alien these eyes are. So, and then you know what? I'm gonna give them what my daughter calls cutie eyes. So they have that kind of double highlight on the eye, and then we'll give her some extreme eyeliner and some lashes here. Lashes here, and then this one, which is a little more sussy. That got a little too thick there at the end. Here we go. And looks like a couple of eyes. All right, now let's get those eyebrows. This one, we're gonna see a little bit of the eyebrow. What is that called? Your eyelid as well. So we get her eyebrow in here. This one going in here. That'll go under the glasses, but that'll be good. And then we've got this kind of cheek to forehead situation here. And we'll get in some ear. And then the ear on this side. Am I getting beach balled again? What's going on? Here we go. Oops. Okay, ear on this side. And then the head part here. All right, so now we can bring our glasses back. Make sure that all works properly. Looks pretty good. angle on that top line is not necessarily perfect though, but as I just said, I wasn't going to worry as much about perfection. It needs to be a little more up here, just a touch. Make these a little, we'll let that be a little darker there. All right. Yeah, I know. I'm going to obsess about this for a second. Why is that not erasing? Why is that not erasing? All right, fine. We'll go to the actual eraser. There. No, still not working. What? See, this is again where I don't remember what the deal is. Why with Clip Studio? What's going on? Needed eraser. Can we get? No, don't want that. This must be turned on to a particular setting, which is like not just erasing, right? Yeah, it's doing something interesting there. What is that? Maybe I made this into, is this a vector layer? Maybe I made this into a vector layer. All right, well, I'll figure that out later. It's close enough for now. All right, so there is the majority of our head. I'm going to do the hair in another layer again, so that if I want to manipulate it later with some other sort of color or something like that, I can. Beach balling. All right. And let me just take a slightly closer look at what her hair is doing. So it's really just kind of cropped. All right, we're good with that. This is my empty layer. Yep. All right. So think about how I want to do this. So it's kind of like shaved on the side, and then there's kind of this kind of fuzziness to it. Sometimes put a little feathering in there. And then looks like, I was wondering, like, is it kind of stuck up? But it's not. It's kind of like just, yeah, it's really just short. Basically just taking cues from the original here. I do like the kind of sticking up part, so I'm going to actually make her bed head a little more extreme here. And then color will do a lot for us when we get to putting this all together. Give this just a little bit of texture in a few places, and that's feeling pretty good to me. Part of what I'm doing in a few places is also going back and actually thickening this line, realizing that, number one, we want some of these things to kind of stand out. Whoops, I don't want to do that on the glasses. Some of these things to stand out more than others. And also, when you do look at it small, you want to make sure that the big details are a little more easily readable. But now if we turn off our other layers, you're going to see like, okay, that's her face. Looks pretty cool. I'm pretty good with that. All right, so let's get to now a little body action. I want to make sure I can see my construction lines a little bit more here. I think for the sake of her neck and stuff. So it's a case of like looking at what's overlapping. So here I'll probably go onto her body and sweatshirt actually before I do the neck, since that's parts underneath. It'll be easier to do what's on top first. Let's see. Yeah. All right, let's go to a new layer, new folder rather. And we'll do body. and make a new layer. I think I did. Yeah, I did make that a vector layer. That's why. Okay. Fix that later. All right. So going on to body and starting with her sweatshirt here. So one thing I look at is like, what are the things that are over the top? And this might be an odd thing to start with, but I'm going to go with these. Let's see, am I seeing all of this? I'm not actually. So let's make sure we can see the whole image here. But I'm going to start with her strings from her sweatshirt. Okay, and then on this side, all right. Okay, good. So then that kind of helps me orient with where the rest of this is as well. You'll see me kind of moving around a little bit. It's so I can get the right angle for the line. The other thing you can do in here is actually slightly rotate the canvas, which sometimes do as well. But you'll see me kind of dance around this some of the time. So that's that. Let's do this shoulder. Actually, I don't want that to do that. I want this to do that. And then I want to try to get this kind of ripped texture down here. I'm going to put another little hole in it here. Okay. Come back to details like the 8-bit Macroverse logo that we're going to do. Almost said Macronauts there. All right, we're getting there. In both the original and in mine, that hood kind of feels like it's a backpack. It's a big hood, but we're gonna go with it. Gonna go with the big hood. All right, it's kind of a small lady, so we'll go small lady, big hood. Arm in here. All right. Now that kind of gives us the next piece, which will be that neck. I'm going to move that behind. And now I think I want to make sure I get that Band-Aid in there, but I want to be able to see my anatomy that I drew in here a little bit better. So I think it's just the Band-Aid. So I'm actually going to hide her as well, just to have a clearer view of my construction lines. All right, and then I'm going to do the Band-Aid actually on a separate layer as well. So let's do that. Okay, Band-Aid, other layer for the neck. And that is pretty much it for the line work. Doesn't line up quite right. It should be here. It should be here. Okay. There, this eraser now works properly because it's on the correct type of layer. And I just made that white instead of black. There we go. Yeah, definitely some shortcuts and things I'm going to have to relearn in Clip Studio. All right, so now if we hide all of our line work, that gives us, or all of our construction lines, that gives us our character. So there we go. Let's see. Oh, redacted leaks about coming collabs and projects. Not exactly, but what I will say is, I will give a shout out to Bennett here, who is our new head of business development. We have been having a lot of very good conversations and definitely some stuff to announce in the next couple of weeks, over the next couple of months. The other thing which I've been spending a lot of time on is I feel like I'm a little bit of a broken record here, but we are in the truly kind of final phase of everything, pre-launch for the Macroverse platform and the first collection of epics. So basically, I am just bug testing, test minting, making sure that everything is just working 100% perfectly for that. And I'll have more to say about that very soon, as well as we hone in on the kind of actual final release date. But we are getting so close and things are looking so good. So I'm excited about that. Let's see. I do want to get that. I like your idea of getting the little Macroverse logo in there for the instead of the Space Invader. So I'm gonna do that. Let's see. Here's my hoodie layer right here. So we'll put that on a new layer here, and there we go. All right, I dig it. Now in the final art, I might give her like some tattoos or something on her arm, or just kind of put a little more of a spin on some of this. That's my own kind of take on it, but digging it. Be fun. All right, so I might kind of end there for the evening. That's about an hour of the initial drawing here. And I'm not sure if I'll do more of a stream for kind of continuing to put in texture and color, or if I may just do some of that and then come back to talk about it or share it. But this is a little sneak peek into what I'll be doing to create Macronauts. I do want to point out, or kind of take a moment to shill a moment. So the one thing which is a little bit of an alpha sneak peek, if you know where to look, if you can get in my head, kind of thing here is I did do a illustration about a week ago, which ties into two things. One is the Moonbirds comic series that is going to be coming soon, which has now been officially greenlit by the Lunar Society, which is the Moonbirds DAO. And the other is a connection to our very own Macronauts project. And so if I can pull this up on screen, I will show it. But there is a couple of clues in what I did with this that will come full circle into some of the stuff that we've been talking about. So again, let me see if I can actually get the right thing up here. Yeah, so this is that drawing. This is can a moonbird be a macronaut? Not quite sure if a moonbird can be a macronaut, at least not in this dimension, but there are some things here that are relevant. So, anyone that's been following along may know that we've been talking about certain stages of devices that one needs to travel between worlds within the Macroverse. And it's pretty evident that there is some kind of device that this moonbird is carrying. That's not an accident. Also, there are some things about the way this is drawn, which is a little bit what I'm thinking for some of what the final representation of our characters as PFPs might be. And there is going to be a reveal that is not currently present in this art. For anyone that mints this, you will find a clue to our next stage of plans. So that is my alpha for the evening as it relates to the Macronauts project and more about what's coming soon. So this is about 24 hours left to mint this open edition of this character. You can find it on my Twitter page at Ebenverse on Twitter. It's also the pinned tweet. But definitely some clues into what I'm thinking at this moment for the Macronauts project. So let's wrap it up there. Thank you guys for joining live. Thank you for anyone that comes and discovers this later. Matt, I will be wrapping up this illustration of your nerd, and we'll then be minting and sending that to you directly as well. And we'll share that, if not the rest of the process, at least when it's done. So everybody have a fantastic evening. You can find me again on Twitter at Ebenverse. You can follow along with everything we're building at Macroverse HQ on Twitter. And if you are someone who is in the mindset or the spirit of storytelling, world building, franchise development, and how that all intersects with the world of Web3, then I cannot encourage you enough to come and join us in our Discord, which is discord.gg/Macroverse. You can, of course, also download the Macroverse app, which is on iOS and Android. There is a ton of great content on there, and that will be one of the places where we'll be launching a lot more great content over the rest of this year as well. So again, thanks for joining. Thanks for watching. Hope it was interesting, and we'll be back. Everybody have a fantastic evening, or if you're somewhere else in the world, whatever time of day it is. GM.